Hi, this is Suresh, and I wanted to give you an update on my Columbus, Ohio half marathon. Just want to give a summary what happened and how did it all go. So this was my sixth half marathon since 2017, and I had some experience running half marathons. The last one, though, it's been two-year break. Uh, so I started preparing for this about 2.5 months ahead, just to make sure that I did all the things that I know what I need to do to be ready. And it was not a very hilly race. It was a fairly flat race, so course. So it was not in terms of difficulty, it isn't that difficult. So I prepared accordingly. Unfortunately, there was a slight glitch in my preparation about a month before. When I was trying to ramp up, I had a little allergy slash respiratory infection that took me out for 3 4 days. Not completely. I was still working out, but I could feel there was an issue there. But that's you can call it an excuse, but whatever it is, it happens, right? You can't predict these things. So I had to work with that. I did lose a few days, I think. So when I was going into the race, I still had some doubts in my head. Where am I 100% ready for this, or did I do enough? I did run an 11-mile run about a week before the race. So half marathon is 13.1 miles, or 21.21 kilometers. So I did run an 11-mile race. I picked out my shoes for the race, and I ran in those, and they felt fine. So going into the race, I'm 90% there. I'm not sure it was 99% there. To be honest. But it's a short 3 hour, 4 hour drive for us from here in Detroit. Get to Columbus, Ohio. It's a very nice town, university town as well, a large Ohio State University campus. So one of the things I ended up doing is go see Jesse Owens, his statue on the campus, which to me, with Jesse Owens' story is amazing. Anybody who hasn't heard that story, you need to check out the YouTube video. When he ran in the 1936 Berlin Olympics with Adolf Hitler in the stadium. And Jesse Owens won gold in 100, 200, and long jump, I believe. But the key was he made Hitler leave the stadium because Hitler wasn't ready for an African American to win those medals. So anyway, amazing feat by Jesse Owens. This is 1936. He was from Ohio State University, and so I had to go and visit his statue, take a picture. So that was a memorable moment for me. This was before the race. We typically make it a vacation, a mini vacation when we go for these events. So we walked around the city, check out different things in the city. So I did all of that, walked about 20,000 steps a couple of days before the race, keep my legs moving. I ran a mile or two of hard run a couple of days before as well. So, all these preps you try to do before the race. So, the race day itself is fantastic, beautiful weather. It's 40 degrees, slightly chilly in terms of, at the start, but then, it was going to warm up to 70 degrees that day. So everything was fine, the weather-wise, you couldn't ask for a better race start. Slightly cool. It's good for running. So I line up as usual in the race. It's always adrenaline is pumping. Everybody's excited. There's about 13,000 people, half marathon and full marathon runners. And I line up I got the Coral A. This is the front Coral based on previous race timings. So I figured I'll be in the front. Generally I know I'm a little faster than some of the other folks, so I figured be in correlate. Now this was a very large run because a lot of people in there. Very crowded start. But the start was very exciting because music was blaring and there's fireworks going on. So everybody runs out, and I run along with them. Obviously we're trying to all get out of there. And 100 meters into the run, this is something that's never happened to me. I've come close before, I think. A guy cuts right across in front of me. And this is very difficult because he cuts right in front and we trip, right? He trips, I trip, he runs away, I fall. Right on my land on my hands and I scrape my knees. It all happens so quick, right? Because there's so much adrenaline pumping and you're going and there's people running behind, right? So I'm on my floor and stand up it took me maybe 5 seconds. I said, you know what? I gotta go. So I just went, right? So I didn't really know what damage I did to my knees. I knew I scraped them. My hands were sort of hurting at that point. So it kind of reminded me, okay, this race is already starting out not very well. Okay, so I already told myself, okay, let's go a bit conservative in this. Just figure out what the heck is going on in my knees. I don't want to push it and then something else happened, right? So at the beginning of the race itself, my mindset was conservative. Let's pull it back, dial it back a little bit, and so that's how I started off. The race unusual. These things you can't predict. This is why you run. It's like people say, this is why you play the game, right? You never know. You can plan everything, but what happens in a game, these things happen. So obviously I'm upset that it happened, but I can't predict it. So now I got to deal with whatever has happened, right? So I just kept going. I mean, obviously, I didn't feel anything at that time necessarily. I didn't feel, but so I go through the run, everything works okay. I go through the whole 13.1 miles and I finish. I finish with the time of an hour, 37:30. It's not a bad time at all for my age group. I finished in top five out of 150 plus runners. But if you ask me, I would say, yeah, okay, this wasn't up to what my my expectations were. I wanted to come under 135, so I did lose about a couple of minutes at least there because of the fall and whatever happened. 130 to 135 would have been what I would have projecting myself because of based on my preparation and things like that, and considering it wasn't a hard course in terms of elevation and things like that. So, but on the whole, I'm happy. Finished the run. Obviously at the end of the run, my quads are all gone because they're becoming very tight. It's probably not just me. Most people probably had to go through that. But the fall obviously starting to hurt at the end of the race. And now I know what the damage was. I mean, obviously it's just scrapes, nothing more serious. Maybe my arms are a little hurting, a little extra, but other than that, it was fine. Got done with the race. It was a good race overall. I highly recommend people who want to try out the Columbus Half Marathon, or a marathon if you're up to it, to go try it out. It's a beautiful, well organized. People are friendly. They took care of everything. Again, so that was my wrap up for the run. Really enjoyed the city. It's a big city, but not really that big. So overall, that was pretty good. At the same, just to finish off on a serious note, I do want to make a advice in general. I would say when I got back to Michigan, we drove back on the same weekend. The Detroit Marathon was going on, and right when I turned on the news, I heard the news: a 57-year-old guy passed away during the marathon. So he is. I've run that half marathon. I know how hard it was. We from Detroit, we got to climb the bridge, Ambassador Bridge, into Windsor, Canada, and then come back. And he apparently passed away right after the climb, 4 miles into the run. So in Canada, so that was pretty sad. That bridge is tough. And again, I think the serious part about this is you have to prepare yourself. Just make sure your health is in good order. Make sure you don't have any issues going on. Obviously we can only do the best we can in terms of figuring out all these things. Again, thank you very much for listening. It's gone a little longer than I thought, and this is the beautiful medal from Columbus, Ohio. I have a collection of about 6 medals now and 6 half marathons. I truly enjoy these things. So what I did this morning is book my hotels for the next half marathon for the next year, and that's so the plans are already underway for the next one in 2025. Thank you so much.